Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to VALORANT News, and one of the key questions going into this new season for the Sentinels roster is what is the communication going to look like? Is the language barrier going to cause any issues inside or potentially outside of the game? TenZ doesn't believe it's going to cause a key issue at all, but Tarek does believe this could be the one factor that might hold Sentinels back this season. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. We're planning to dive into today. Just to clarify this clip, if you guys saw it, this of course is like some no clip action. I'm pretty sure, I highly doubt it's actually possible to get up here on top of the crane, but yeah, so just custom games, fun. Still thought it was pretty funny. This from BBL then. So yes, definitely roster changes are still getting confirmed around the world. Elite is going to be one of BBL's players going forwards. There's been some talk about, okay, where are some of the other top Turkish guys going to go? Of course, BBL as an organization are looking for players like that, and we still think cNed is probably going to go to the FPX team that's now going to be Na'Vi, right, in place of Ardes, who we think is going to NRG. So still, there's some rumors going around, because until things get officially confirmed and locked in, we can't be sure what these teams are doing, because someone could come through with a last-minute offer, and until we kind of get all the signs, kind of tweets that come through, we never really know. And speaking of those, we've got this from Redgar. So he confirms contract sign is official. So IGL, of course, Redgar for the M3C team, former Gambit team. He is going to be joining what could be a very scary squad in the EMEA region. Really excited for that Liquid team, and I'll show you guys the teams here in a second if you guys are unfamiliar. But also ShahZaM from that team potentially signing to Koi going forward as well. So all these players now hopefully getting their arrangements signed and delivered such that they can join what could be great teams next season. So the North American League is stacked. Certainly the EMEA League is stacked as well, as we can see here from the kind of, well, the different teams all around the world. And just to focus in on EMEA, so this is the Flynn spreadsheet that he puts together whenever there is a significant change, and these are the rosters that we expect. Leo's been confirmed to Fnatic, Alphager, Chronicle, Boaster, Durka. That rounds out that team. Redgar is going to be, we think, alongside Safe, Jampi, Soulcast, and Nats over at Team Liquid. So that is a really nice team in my opinion. And then the former Liquid guys, Scream and Avera, going, we think, to K-Corp. They're going to round out this team. So a lot of this stuff has now either been confirmed or is practically guaranteed. Like, you know, he's putting the things in green, in like the darker green here. That's a 90 to 100% sure. If it's blue, then it's confirmed and it's fully locked in. So some of this is not yet, but he also reckons ShahZaM to this Koi team. So most of these squads are, of course, pretty much confirmed. Nothing, well, not all of this stuff has been confirmed yet. Some of these players have been, but they're still going to take their time with the announcements and all that type of stuff. And this quickly talking about tier 2 then, so what's going on there? So not that many changes here day by day at this point. We get some more organizations involved. You guys can see what's going on in Brazil, Latin America, plenty of tier 2 teams in these respective regions. And just to talk North America real quick, because this is what's going on the right-hand side of the screen, if you guys can just about make it out. I think some slightly increased percentages here from what we have seen before. Firstly, V1 is all in the red here, so that's 0 to 9% chance of these things actually happening, so probably V1 are going to do an entirely different plan. Same with G2 and XL and these teams. X Ghost, who have got Nismo, potentially Koala Noob staying around. FaZe Clan is about a 40 to 50% chance that they keep these guys. Superman, we still think might be going to that EG roster. But yeah, Dicey, babybay might be sticking around on FaZe, and that's the question for these guys really, because like obviously FaZe and the Guard and TSM got rejected for some reason or another. So if they were to run it back with their same team, still pay the same solid salaries and or whatever they're going to do in tier 2, and they qualify, then it's a weird situation really, because if you qualify through Ascension, you get 2 seasons in the top tier league with theoretically your roster that you won Ascension with, which I suppose is what they're going for. But also if you do get through there, then you only get 2 seasons. So let's say FaZe 1 or the Guard win, or TSM even win Ascension for North America, then they'll get through to the Americas League, and okay, cool, they get 2 seasons in there. But then after those 2 seasons, the team then drops out again of the Ascension League and has to earn their spot again. So I'm sure the idea is really for these organizations is to get into Ascension and then try and get right to actually partner you, and maybe drop one of your existing partner teams. Let's say one of your existing partner teams isn't doing so well, they could theoretically end that relationship and bring in the team that actually qualified for Ascension as maybe a full-time member of the partnership kind of alliance thing. Don't know if that's actually going to happen, but it might be the plan, because if you're the Guard or FaZe, do you want to qualify and then just get knocked out anyway in 2 years' time? Is that really worth it in the long term? Tough to say. So anyway, these are the teams that these squads are potentially forming, and let's talk about Sentinels. So firstly, Sassy joining SEG Esports right here. So, one of the agencies that goes around that players over time generally like to join to protect their own own best interest. And of course, we've got to talk about TenZ. So TenZ is here to stay, as they described a few days ago now, confirming that the system effectively is going to be built around him and built around his success. What are the key questions with the Sentinels roster? They could have gone down the Marved route, right? Or they could have gone down a different route in terms of the players they brought in. We think that Marved had an offer here, potentially, that he may have either turned down or thought it was going to be there longer than it was. And then they went down the Brazilian route instead. So TenZ was getting interviewed by Tarek on these kind of subjects and what he thinks about the squad going forwards. Firstly, what the potential is for the language barrier issues. That's the key concern, not really from Sassy, but mainly from Pancada, who can speak English, but, you know, as it stands, not at a level that he's so comfortable with talking to a camera. TenZ reckons even that, though, might still be enough to be a great team inside the game, because certain communications require, okay, you know, there's X amount of players in Y position, and you can say that even without particularly good English. But I think generally it's the small talk, it's the, hey, you know, come here, let's do this, like, you know, can you throw me this or whatever, that in the pressure moments might come back to bite the Sentinels guys. So that, I think, is the concern here from Tarek. That's the key issue with this team going forwards. But also TenZ goes on to say that the way the team is getting built around him, he does reckon that he can reach peak TenZ performances from early 2021.
One question about this team that you guys are building here, this international roster, is the language barrier. Have you talked to the new guys, and are you concerned about that being a problem for the future?
I haven't talked to the new guys, but I'm sure like it won't be like that big of an issue. Just because I feel like when it comes to gaming, like I don't think you need to be like full fluent in like a language. I think you definitely need to like know some like words here and there, but I would say like comms are very like broad, especially like if you're getting into the game, like you just say like a number, this spot. I would say like it might come into like maybe a language barrier would come into effect if you're doing like a mid round and you can't properly convey like what you want everyone to do, or you're trying to call like an adaptation or something. So I think that's like probably the one
on the fly, yeah,
that's probably like the one case, but I'm sure like we're gonna figure everything out.
I think the language barrier is gonna be like the biggest I mean, one of the biggest things that you guys will have to work through, because it could get tricky, especially like you said with the mid-round fly calls, or just like, you know, even if you're hanging out as a team and there's one guy that can't understand or talk to people, then it's going to make him feel a little down. So hopefully we can catch him up to speed, or catch both of them up to speed. How do you feel you'll perform with a more structured environment? This team is kind of being built to be a little bit more stable in that sense of having better teamwork and stuff like that. What do you think about that?
I mean, only time will tell how I personally play, but I think it's like a good, just overall like thing that players will probably play better when they know what each other are doing and know what like the overall game plan is.
Yeah, I think it applies for like every team, right?
Yeah.
Just like the more comfortable you are, and if they're setting you up to do things that you like to do, and then if people are just getting along like outside the game and like that, which also matters, it'll just make it easier on everyone. Do you feel like in the Valorant competitive scene, have we like seen the peak of TenZ, or do you think that you can do even way better than what you've done? Like how far can we go?
Yeah, I definitely think like I have a lot more to show, and I mean, recent results don't really like show exactly like who I am as a player.
So what do you guys think about this whole comms issue, and whether it actually is going to be as big of an issue as some have talked about? To be honest, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, because look, there's quite some time to get Pancada in the rhythm. But I also agree with kind of Tarek's perspective that it's the outside of the game stuff that also could be a factor, because it's not just in the game in terms of can they understand what Pancada's saying, can he understand what they are saying, like because we think Sassy will be okay. But it's good that Pancada's got Sassy with him to make sure he can be integrated into the team culture as best as they intend to. But also it is the outer game stuff, right? Let's say they go for, you know, go to the pub or for a restaurant meal or something, and they're trying to bond as a team, but from, you know, cultural but also language perspectives, it's maybe a little bit difficult for Pancada to get in on the action in some senses. That might kind of affect their chemistry as a team. So that's just one thing to think about. Of course, it's happened with teams in the past that this issue either has affected or has not affected if they get on top of it. So I'm not really too concerned about this. Pancada's learning English quickly. previously, so I still think that over time, like, they can get it sorted. But I think that in fairness, even when we get to February for the Sao Paulo event, there is a chance that some of these issues are still lingering. But I'm sure they'll be hoping that Pancada's English can get to a good enough level when they finally do get in the same vicinity together and start to really bond as a team, then he can successfully do that with the guys, which of course is important to success as well. The out of the game stuff, not just in the game, but even Pancada's getting aboard, as he says right here, update, just hit gold, right? It's not just silver in Duolingo now, he's now up to gold. So he's looking good, and probably by the time everything comes around, it'll be all sunshine and rainbows for the Sentinels guys. But also, what does it mean for the potential of that roster? Just because, as TenZ says, he reckons he could potentially get back to that level of performance that he saw in himself not that long ago now, and he reckons that, you know, the way that Psycho's building the system and everything could very well work in his favor, which is in fairness certainly a scary sign for the other teams in the VCT. So very much enjoy your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. If you guys want another video to watch, I'll link another one of our Breaking Point Valorant videos down in the description box below. You guys have been showing some good love over the last couple of days trying to build up that channel, so appreciate all the support. Thanks for watching as always, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.